Djokovic confesses his biggest problem in Shanghai. Djokovic, on the edge, I just tried to stay alive on the court. The Serbian advances despite the heat and humidity in Shanghai. There's always something going on with my body in almost every match I play at the moment, he admits. Novak Djokovic was very explicit when summarizing what he experienced during his quarterfinal match against Belgian BERGS. Above all, I just tried to stay alive on the court, to be honest. That's how he described a situation that repeats itself in every match of the Chinese tournament, due to the extreme heat and, above all, the humidity under which players compete during the Asian Tour. These last few weeks have been very challenging for all players, so you have to try to stay alive on the court to get through it, the Serbian reiterated. Later, in a press conference, he said his victory was not as simple as the scoreboard suggested. Well, it may look easy, but I assure you it wasn't. No win is easy at this level. BERGS has been playing excellent tennis in this tournament. I think it would be disrespectful to him to say it was easy. It was a hard-fought win in 2 sets, Djokovic insisted. Djokovic said he has no specific physical problems, although he does have some discomfort. My leg was fine. There's always something going on with the body in almost every match I play at this point. There are some other issues I'm trying to deal with day by day, and I hope they improve as the tournament goes on. I have a day off before the semifinal, so that's really good. I'll come back with the right attitude and the intention to win. Novak Djokovic is 2 matches away from conquering another major ATP title. Beyond the joy of the Olympic Games, it's been 2 seasons since the Serbian last won a Masters 1000 or higher level tournament, a motivation that fuels his competitiveness and pushes him to take his body a little further with every match, especially in a draw now free of his main nightmares, Alcaraz and Sinner. It was no different when facing BERGS, who, however, put up less resistance in long rallies than Jaume Munar. Novak Djokovic got a bit of a breather and avoided another marathon, much-needed oxygen to face the final stretch of the ATP Shanghai 2025, where he feels at home. Next stop, Valentin Vaquero, a player Djokovic knows well after all the time he has spent in Monaco. I've known him for a couple of years. Before this tournament, he was outside the top 200, but he's been around the circuit for a while. He's making history for Monaco, it's incredible, everyone there is excited, and we all know Monaco hosts one of the most historic and beautiful tournaments in our sport. I'm happy for him and his team. Benjamin Balleray, former player and Vaquero's coach, is someone I've known for a long time, having been based there for 15 years and trained a lot at the Monte Carlo Country Club. Vaquero is improving a lot. We always knew he had potential, with a very powerful serve and an aggressive game. He's a big guy. I think he plays quite similarly to Rinderknecht, and I've seen that they're very close. His serve actually reminds me of Arthur's. It's great to see the chemistry between them and how they support each other. Arthur was there for his cousin's entire match. Yes, it's a historic success for him, so I'm looking forward to that match, and I hope to get the win. Sinner and Djokovic make a decision that could change tennis forever. Players denounce extreme conditions in the tournament, with high temperatures and humidity affecting performance and health. The Shanghai Masters 1000 is entering its final stretch, but it's doing so without most of its favorites. The suffocating heat and extremely high humidity these days in the Chinese city have been the main reason why several players have dropped out. So far, 7 withdrawals have been recorded in this penultimate Masters 1000 of the season, with Jannik Sinner's being the most notable. His shocking images, visibly limping and barely able to move, went around the world and left the tournament without its defending champion and main title favorite, after the withdrawal of Carlos Alcaraz. The big attraction now is Novak Djokovic, who remains in contention despite also suffering from the weather conditions, as was evident with the illness that caused him to vomit during his third-round match against German Yannick Hanfmann. All this has led the ATP to consider creating an official rule regarding heat, since current regulations state that decisions about suspending play due to adverse weather conditions, including extreme heat, are made by the on-site ATP supervisor, who coordinates with the venue's medical teams and local authorities. This remains under active review, and additional measures are currently being evaluated, including the implementation of an official heat policy, in consultation with players, tournaments, and medical experts, the ATP explained to Reuters. The safety of players remains a top priority for the ATP, the governing body added. If implemented, it would not be a novelty on the circuit, since the Grand Slams, which depend on the ITF, not the ATP, have formally implemented rules allowing for extended breaks and match suspensions when necessary. Jannik Sinner withdraws from the Shanghai Masters 1000 due to physical problems. On Sunday, October 5, The Italian tennis player Jannik Sinner withdrew from the Shanghai Masters 1000 after suffering physical problems during his match against Dutch player Talon Griekspoor. The athlete, who as defending champion was one of the top favorites to win the title, had to leave the court while attempting a comeback against his rival. Novak Djokovic vomited on court and Sinner retired due to cramps. Djokovic was among the first to show signs of the struggle. After defeating Yannick Hanfmann, he ended up vomiting because of the intense heat. "It's brutal when you have 80% humidity day after day," said the Serbian, who also described the situation as crazy in terms of physical demands. Another case was Jannik Sinner, who had to withdraw from his match against Griekspoor due to cramps in his right leg, despite leading the match. The automatic withdrawal gave the Dutchman the win, and he acknowledged, "Conditions have been brutal all week." Several players expressed their discomfort with the climate. Frenchman Arthur Rinderknecht also joined the complaints. "It's hard to breathe on the court," he said, referring to the combination of heat, humidity, and air pollution. "The sun hits hard on your head, and it's difficult to stay calm," he added, pointing not only to the physical strain but also to the mental toll of competing in such conditions. Fans, too, are suffering under the stands. "You have to know how to optimize your body," Rinderknecht concluded, making it clear that every match in Shanghai has become a test of endurance. The situation, far from anecdotal, has become a topic of debate throughout the professional circuit. Novak Djokovic breaks the silence after vomiting and collapsing at the Shanghai Masters. It seemed that Djokovic would be forced to retire, but he quickly got back up and kept fighting. He found another gear in the final decisive set to book his place in the quarterfinals, where he would face BERGS. After the match, Djokovic refused to do his regular media duties but turned to Instagram with a brief message for his fans. He wrote, "Tough day at the office. Very physically challenging. Luckily, I have the best support in the world." Djokovic is not the only player to have expressed frustration with the conditions in Shanghai. Holger Rune recently urged ATP officials to introduce a heat rule after 7 players were forced to retire mid-match. "I think it was like 31 degrees and very humid, but compared to other days it was still quite brutal, so I think there should be some kind of rule," said the Dane after defeating Giovanni Pericard to reach the quarterfinals. "We can handle a certain amount of heat because, we're fit, we're strong, we're also mentally tough, but there's always a limit. I think it's also important to take care of your health. We need to survive." Earlier this week, Djokovic admitted to struggling in the scorching heat, with humidity sometimes reaching around 80%. Speaking after his win over Yannick Hanfmann, he said, "It's the same for every player on the court, but it's brutal. It's brutal when you have more than 80% humidity day after day, especially for the guys playing during the day under the sun. It's even more brutal. For me, biologically, it's a bit harder to deal with that. But I had to weather the storm today." Jannik played an amazing match from the start. Tennis is going through a very complicated moment at the Shanghai Masters 1000. The reason is health-related. The extreme heat and, above all, humidity affecting this part of China are taking a toll on many players. In the early rounds, top stars like Novak Djokovic and Jannik Sinner have suffered the consequences, in Sinner's case, even dramatically, as he had to retire with severe cramps, barely able to leave the court on his own. Djokovic's case wasn't as severe, but he did vomit multiple times on the court. And they were far from the only ones. As the tournament barely enters the round of 16, only 10 seeded players remain, and just 3 from the top 8, a clear sign of how much everyone is suffering. While surprises are common in world tennis, this many withdrawals are not, and it tarnishes the event. Especially considering that many absences are due to the physical ordeal the players are enduring. And not only in Shanghai, it was also seen recently in Beijing, and in the women's WTA 1000 in Wuhan, where the female players are also struggling badly. The withdrawals keep coming, like that of Emma Raducanu, raising concerns that a solution is urgently needed. For that reason, both the ATP and WTA are working on it, though it's not easy, since the climate is what it is. The example of the Grand Slams, even if there's little that can truly be done, there is an example these tournaments could follow, the system already used by the Grand Slams. The main and only objective is player safety, which is why the ATP is considering launching a new action protocol for these cases. Until now, the rules state that decisions about suspending play due to adverse weather conditions fall to the ATP supervisor on site, who coordinates with the medical teams and local authorities, but they want to institutionalize it. They are currently evaluating additional measures, including the implementation of an official heat policy.